Part 94. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 932. Lurang's grass actually showed such a terrifying scene. Suddenly, everyone was extremely shocked. Why, I feel like this grass comes from the universe. It seems that after countless years, it is just a grass, but I see countless eras of destruction around it. What level of creature is this? For a moment, everyone in the field was shocked. When Xuanhuan saw the grass, his pupils shrank instantly. His body could not help but tremble at this moment, and he murmured, "No. This is impossible. In the past, I was killed by black hands on the black path. That grass has obviously been taken away, how could it grow to this day?" He was extremely confused and didn't know what he was thinking of. In the past, this grass followed me for no more than 10 changes, now, it has been reborn and died thousands of times. He murmured. Could it be that it didn't die directly after entering the other side of the road? He doesn't know. But he confirmed that this grass was indeed the one he had back then. Where are the marks? Where are the seeds? Where did they go? He is asking questions. Since this grass has never died, do those seeds in the Beiwu ancestral realm still exist? And at this moment, a faint thought suddenly came out from the grass. She entered the darkness at the end of 10,000 paths, experienced life and death, killed 3 souls, and broke through the darkness to destroy 10 souls. She planted a world of white mist in the darkest place. As soon as these words came out, Xuanhuan suddenly turned pale with horror. The end of the road, into darkness. After going through life and death, he killed 3 souls and destroyed 10 souls. And in the darkest place, a world of white mist is planted. Every sentence seems to involve an eternal secret. Have you ever gone deeper with her? Xuanhuan was extremely excited. He looked at the grass with 1,000 words in his eyes and said, "She planted a world." Even Lurang was a little stunned at the moment. Now, they all know that in the past life, the 10 evil spirits should have died at the hands of the Black Hand on the Black Path. After their death, will 10,000 roads end also be on the road? Did she see the black trail? How did you get to the other side of the road? Xuanhuan's grass that contained the Beiwu ancestral realm clearly fell into the hands of the Black Hand, and was eventually obtained by Yungzi. She used that grass to plant a world of white mist in the darkest place. However, the grass just said slowly. I only vaguely remember that she succeeded, but also failed. I saw her walking towards the source's eyes, and then I fell into a deep sleep. I don't know what happened, anymore. When I woke up, it was already this life, only a fragment of my memory remained. Hearing this, Xuanhuan showed unparalleled concern on his face and said, "That black hand back then, wasn't that the one?" His words were all tinged with trembling. The grass must have said word by word. The world is ups and downs, time has collapsed, but he is still there. Hearing this, Xuanhuan suddenly looked up to the sky and smiled. Ha 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 ha. It's not him, it turns out it's not him, that's great, that's great. He laughed, and at this moment, his whole person seemed to have seen the light again. All you need to know is that the Black Hand is not the one, he is enough. I am indeed the most handsome and powerful, everyone is dead. Only my pot of grass went to the depths of darkness and spawned a world of white mist. Now, I can still follow that person. What more regret, what more regret? At this moment, all the cold air on his body suddenly dissipated, and he felt extremely happy. He looked at Lurang and said, "Was I very handsome and strong in my previous life?" That look was so nakedly showing off. Lurang couldn't help it anymore and gritted his teeth and said, "What are you pretending to be? Isn't it over there? Even dogs can go there." "Can dogs go?" Xuanhuan was startled for a moment and couldn't help but ask. You mean that dead dog went to the other side of the road and is still alive? He, really found the one. Lu Rang nodded and said. You tell me, how miserable you are, worse than a dog. When Qingzun heard this, he was startled for a moment, his expression turned out to be a little complicated, and he said. That dead dog, a real dog. He couldn't help but shake his head. However, you have been too weak in this life, do you think others can show the ultimate palace? What about you? Parallel import, commit suicide, don't delay my Qingzun's reputation. When Lu Rang heard this, he was dissatisfied and said. Isn't it the ultimate palace? Keep an eye on it for me. He suddenly stepped forward, and then, with a wave of his hand, he actually cut off the thousands of marks on the grass. Every time a mark is cut off, the breath of the grass becomes weaker. In the end, all the tens of thousands of marks of rebirth and death were cut off. The terrifying and monstrous grass suddenly turned into an ordinary mortal grass. Seeing this scene, everyone was immediately shocked. Is this guy crazy? That is an astonishing grass. Every mark of life and death is extremely rare and represents a sublimation. How many years of practice does it take for a plant in the world to undergo tens of thousands of transformations? It should be noted that even the 9 changes of Caozu has only achieved 9 changes so far. However, in just a short moment, he made a top-level sacred grass become so ordinary. Is this mental illness? Kazujubian was so angry that he was about to vomit blood. In his eyes, he already regarded that grass as a senior in the grass path, a supreme power in the grass path. As a result, now, Lu Rangquan has been crippled. Moreover, if you really don't want it, you can give it to him, but in the end, it will all disappear. Outside the chess field, Qing Shenglan also went crazy, his eyes were red, and he said. Why do you want me to see this kind of person? I really want to kill him, damn bitch, so many marks of life and death. She is simply jealous. With so many life and death marks, even if she only gets one, she can achieve unparalleled ascension. A priceless treasure for any plant. Now, it's all ruined. Qingzun was startled for a moment and was shocked. He looked at Lu Rang and said. When I reincarnated, did I reincarnate without any brains? Are you so stupid? You destroyed so many supreme marks. When Lu Rang heard this, he was very careless and said. What do you know? Master said that this is called, cut off the scourge and soak up the new rain, and then you will have a clear sky. That is at this moment. In the grass that had become extremely ordinary, countless light green lights suddenly appeared. And in it, vaguely, there is a green palace. That is, the ultimate palace. Seeing this, everyone was shocked. This guy, the ultimate palace was planted by him. What the hell is this? Others have reached the extreme of the avenue, triggering the roar of the avenue, and the ultimate palace appears naturally. As a result, this guy actually planted the ultimate palace. What a surprise. This is the first time I've seen someone who can grow the ultimate palace. What kind of sorcery is this? Isn't this guy too unnatural? How did he do it? Everyone was shocked. Qing Shenglan's eyes were filled with incredible expressions, and he said. No. He cut off the grass's imprint of countless rebirths and deaths, clearly weakening the pot of grass. Why did he make the ultimate palace appear instead? Even in the chess field, Qingzun was startled and said. How did you do that? The phrase cut off the sickness and soak up the new rain, and then you will have a clear sky, what does it mean? His eyes were extremely solemn. His past life is also constantly changing. The more marks of life and death, the stronger he will be. Could it be that I took the wrong path in my previous life? Moreover, he clearly felt that Lu Rang's words, behead the disease and soak up the new rain, then you will have a clear sky, which seemed to contain some kind of supreme true meaning. Lu Rang scratched his head and said, "The meaning of this sentence, actually I don't know. The 7 essentials for planting and raising given by the master are included, anyway, just listen to the master and do it, and it will be fine." In fact, he didn't think much about it at all. What is the great way to understand, what is the true meaning of cultivating? Is it necessary to use your brain? Isn't it enough to follow Li Fan's instructions and do it step by step to the letter? The grass just showed the mark of countless rebirths and deaths, but it was very extraordinary, however, among the 7 essentials of planting and cultivation taught by Master, it was a chronic illness or an old disease, which would only affect the new life of the plant and was a constraint. So, just follow what Master taught and just cut it off. Unexpectedly, after cutting it off, you can see the ultimate palace. He was also quite surprised. When Xuanhuan heard this, he suddenly became a little depressed. Comparing people to each other is so annoying. In his previous life, he tried hard to find it but couldn't find it. In this life, he just takes the medicine according to the prescription and can see the ultimate palace. How's it going? Do you accept it? Lu Rang looked at Xuanhuan in disbelief. Xuanhuan became more and more angry, gritted his teeth and said, "With a cheater like you, there's nothing to say." He turned around directly and said, "Goodbye, remember to salute that person for me." After saying that, he looked to the other side and saw the white relic suspended in the air. That is the legacy of Brahma. Let's go, we can't stay here any longer. Let's go to the true ancestor realm and find a few ants to beat up and relieve our stress. As soon as he waved his hand, the relic actually flew over, walked side by side with him, and left. They are no longer bound by the chess formation. And Xuanhuan just left. Boom. In the corner of the chess field where Lu Rang was, another terrifying white rainbow rose across the sun. This is the 9th path. Among them, there are also 9 methods. Now. Small village. In the small courtyard. Li Fan smiled, picked up the chess pieces from the 2 corners of Yungzi's chess field, and put them aside casually. The pieces in these 2 places have been defeated, the outcome has been determined, and there is no point in remaining on the chessboard. Both corners are lost. There was some annoyance in Yun 11's big eyes. Li Fan smiled and said, "Do you know why I won?" Yun 11 said without thinking, "Because you are the one here." Li Fan. Yun 11's words made him not know how to reply for a moment. However, Yungzi already smiled sweetly and said, "I know. Because your pieces have roots. Although it seems to start from a weak point, it will not be lost. Although my chess piece is strong, it is like duckweed in the end." Li Fan smiled and said, "Continue. Today is the first 2 chapters. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert." Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 933. True Ancestor Realm. A sensation in the world. At this moment, all the forces are paying attention to the sacrifice mountain. What exactly happened? Isn't the mountain of sacrifice related to the 9 Dharma? Why did the Brahma palace appear? The ultimate celestial phenomenon, did the Brahma from the pre-white mist era go there? It's not just the ultimate celestial phenomenon of Brahma. Haven't you seen it? The sky has turned completely green. The huge green palace is like a hat, covering the head of the entire Tianjiang continent, that is the legendary Qing dynasty. It is something that can only be evolved by respecting you, the ultimate palace of cultivation. The world spread the news. Moreover, what is even more shocking is that there are 2 more terrifying white rainbows on the sacrifice mountain. Now, there are 9 white rainbows in Shishi mountain. The 9 white rainbows reflected each other, and the energy spread throughout the true ancestor realm. Now every cultivator in the true ancestor realm felt an inexplicable fluctuation, which seemed to resonate with the 9 white rainbows in Tianjian continent. It's the breath of Ju-Dharma. Where is the ultimate 9 methods hidden? The appearance of these 9 white rainbows speeds up the operation of my 9 Dharma. Over there are the 9 Dharma about to be born. People were very excited. It should be noted that the 9 laws are controlled by the 9 ancient immortal clans, and they are also the foundation for the 9 ancient clans to stand in the clouds and rule the entire true ancestor realm. Now, there is a chance to obtain the 9 Dharma. The major forces also sent troops to investigate the sacrifice mountain. Even the 9 ancient immortal clans could no longer sit still. Many powerful men who were usually in retreat came out one after another, holding family treasures in hand, and headed to Tianjian continent. It's rare to see a door opener, but now there are dozens of them. According to the news, the sacrifice mountain on Tianjian continent has been completely blocked, even those who open the door cannot enter. That area is shrouded in an extremely terrifying chess formation. No one can approach it, and no one can see through it. It seems to be isolated from the true ancestor realm. Ji Wuming and others from our clan can't be contacted now, but what is certain is that they are not dead yet. Many big families were whispering, extremely anxious, and reporting to the temple of sacrifice at the same time. In the divine state of sacrifice, deep in the sky, in the ancient bronze hall, the Lord is manifesting today. The main hall was roaring, and thousands of chi machines were falling. In the main hall. What's going on? Didn't you say that Grey Mist Sea can completely break the chess formation of Wandao endpoint this time? Wu Jiandao's face was gloomy and he said. But now, instead of feeling the disappearance of the energy over there, instead, more and more white rainbows are appearing, and even the aura of the 9 arts is getting stronger. Many ultimates also have solemn expressions. It should be no problem. Ji Wulu shook his head and said. Although the end of 10,000 paths is powerful, it is already an eternity later. Grey Mist Sea has experienced the golden age and has already reached an unimaginable height. Her game is outdated. Chang Ching said in deep thought. The ultimate celestial phenomena of the Brahma Dao and the ultimate celestial phenomena of the Cultivation Dao have appeared one after another. This proves that the evil corpses of Brahma and King Zun have been released. Do you think they will come to us? Ning Tianji heard this and said directly. The chess game at Wandao End is about to be broken. They are a bunch of dead bodies. Do they still dare? He was very angry. Being taught a lesson by the 10 lords and 2 evils in a row caused him to have no good impression of these people at all. But, the words just fell. Don't you dare. Outside the giant bronze palace, a voice sounded faintly. Suddenly, everyone's expressions changed drastically. They were in the main hall and looked outside, only to see 2 bridges paved with shocking avenues that had extended to the sky above the sacrifice divine state. On the 2 avenues and bridges were 2 men. One of them stood with his hands behind his hands, with a hint of self-respect in his eyes, while the other one was a spotless monk. Brahma Lord, Qing Lord, it's you. Ning Tianji's face suddenly turned ugly. He shrank subconsciously and said. I didn't say anything just now. He is scared. Frightened in seconds. Everyone was shocked when they saw this. Brother Ning, how can you give in? Wu Jidao felt as if he had seen a ghost. This is not your style, Brother Ning, you don't have a fever, do you? Zhang Shanju couldn't help but speak. Upon hearing this, Ning Tianji's face suddenly turned dark. If you have the ability, go ahead. If you don't have the ability, don't talk nonsense. I'm being beaten, and you guys are watching a show, and you think I'm stupid. If you give in, give in. Ning Tianji was completely shameless. The main thing is, damn, I get beaten every time. This has been beaten 5 times. He really has a long memory. Everyone. However, outside the giant bronze palace, Qing Zun and the other 2 were not happy. We came here specifically to have fun, and you won't fight if you don't want to. King Xun was not angry and said, "Monk, hold him." Brahma also clasped his hands together and said, "The donor deserves a beating, so he'd better come out." "Don't worry, we won't beat you to death." This sentence actually seems to contain some unimaginable magic power. In the temple of sacrifice to the world, Ning Tianji's expression suddenly froze, and he subconsciously stepped out. "Brother Ning, the country is full of doubts. They won't beat me to death, it's okay," Ning Tianji said subconsciously, and then went out. Hearing this, everyone was shocked. What kind of brain circuit does Ning Tianji have? As long as he is not beaten to death, he will take the initiative to go out and let people beat him. Really brave. Chang Sun Changqing could not help but give a thumbs up. Finally, Ning Tianji walked out of the bronze hall. Huh? Why did I get out? In an instant, Ning Tianji reacted. No. My mind was affected just now. It was affected by Brahma. Ning Tianji's expression changed drastically, he turned around hastily and was about to run towards the bronze hall. However, a big green hand was already in front of him, and slapped him away hard. Ah! Ning Tianji let out a shrill scream. He was slapped thousands of miles away and vomited blood. I will fight with you." He was angry. However, as soon as he finished speaking, Qing Xun was already approaching, and he punched and kicked him suddenly. Ning Tianji, who had the ultimate cultivation level, was actually unable to resist at all at this moment. He was like an adult beating a child. He fell to the ground after being beaten, holding his head and begging for mercy. "Stop fighting, I was wrong, spare your life, spare your life." Ning Tianji screamed miserably. However, Qing Xun punched and kicked him, which was called cruel. "I'm not happy today, you idiot. It's amazing that you cheated and won. I'll beat you to death." Qing Xun yelled and cursed while beating him. However, he did not kill him. Because he knew that what Brahma just used was the method of swearing in the Brahma Deo, which could allow Ning Tianji to walk out of the giant bronze palace, but he must also abide by what he said and not beat Ning Tianji to death. This is cause and effect. Finally, after a long time, Ning Tianji had been beaten until he was dizzy, with broken bones all over his body, and his skin was bruised and his face was swollen. Let me go, I really can't hold it anymore." Ning Tian begged with great difficulty. This time, he was really beaten badly. "I'm done fighting, get out of here." Qing Xun spoke. Hearing this, Ning Tian felt as if he had been granted amnesty and hurriedly prepared to run back. "How's it going? Are you decompressing?" At this time, Lord Brahma suddenly looked at Lord Qing. Qing Xun said, "Not bad, after this beating, I feel much better." Brahma nodded, suddenly looked at Ning Tianji and said, "Wait a moment. Come here and let me give you a good beating. I haven't hit anyone in years. I want to relieve my stress." Ning Tianji. A small mountain village, in a small courtyard. Big Demon King, my chess seems to be terrible." Yun 11 was a little annoyed. Now her chess game had become a little scattered. The few chess pieces that had the most potential were not connected to other chess pieces at all, making the whole chess game unviable. Li Fan picked up the teacup, took a sip of hot tea, touched Xiao Bai on his leg, and said, "Your chess game ignores one thing, the numerous ordinary chess pieces are actually the most important. Water can capsize a boat, but it can also carry it. Even the chess piece that is the leader must come from among the ordinary chess pieces and return to the ordinary chess pieces. Otherwise, it is just a fantasy to cross the board." Hearing this, Yongzi was thoughtful. "Then if this is the case, my chess will be lost." She spoke in frustration. Li Fan smiled and said, "Silly girl, Don't panic. Not all dragon heads are separated from the ordinary chess pieces. Haven't you noticed that your two hidden pieces are still not separated from your intention and are still connected with the ordinary chess pieces? He pointed towards the Yungzi chessboard. When Yun 11 saw this, her beautiful eyes suddenly lit up. But in order to do this, it seems that I have to take the initiative to kill those leading chess pieces that have broken away from the overall situation of ordinary chess pieces. She thought for a moment. Those leading chess pieces that occupy a dominant position are above many chess pieces, but they are in a corner, blocking the path of other chess pieces. It's better to get rid of it. Immediately, she took the initiative to introduce those leading parts into Li Fan's game. She is taking the initiative to send some of the chess pieces to die. Only then can two useful hidden particles be elicited. Li Fan smiled slightly. At the same time, the sky descends to the continent and worships the world mountain. Outside the sacrifice mountain, there is a group of powerful men with a transcendent aura. We can no longer enter this place at all. An old man holding a sword whispered. His name was Dugu Shi, and he was the opener of the Dugu clan. The chess formation is airtight and too powerful. I don't know if the chess game at Wandao ending has been broken. An old woman from the Zhang family had a purple light flashing in her eyes. Her name was Zhang Shangxiu. Ji Wuming and other fellow Taoists are not dead yet. With them here, it shouldn't be a big problem. They are all the openers of the 9 ancient immortal clans. There are 11 people. This time the involvement was too great. They usually stayed in seclusion, but now they had to appear. Boom. At this moment, a corner of the chessboard on Mount Sacrifice suddenly erupted with terrifying light. Suddenly, the 11 people who opened the door felt that they could not help themselves, and they all headed towards the sacrificial mountain in an instant. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 934. Sacrifice the world in the mountains. Seeing Qingzun and Brahmazun leaving, Qing Chen and others were somewhat silent. Seeing the past life, they learned a corner of the truth about the years. They are the reincarnations of the 10 gods. They are too powerful, we must not let them live. Ji Wuming looked at Qing Chen Lurang and others, but strong murderous intent burst out in his eyes. Yes, there are 10 deities and 2 evil ones. If one of them survives and grows up, our 9 ancient immortal clans will probably be liquidated. Ning Yuanju also whispered. Kill them. Wu Jiangan roared even louder. They all stared at Qing Chen and others, wanting to kill him. At this moment, the chess formation under their feet seemed to have undergone unimaginable changes, and they were actually able to move. Kill. With a roar, the 3 of them who opened the door rushed toward Zhang Li and others. How dare you, a bunch of young men actually dare to attack the reincarnations of the 10 gods. Chang Sun Buletin shouted loudly, and the spear in his hand suddenly shook, bursting out with thousands of spear lights, and directly attacked and killed Ji Wuming and the others. If you want to take action against the 10 reincarnations, you must first pass the test of me. Ji Wuden also stepped out. The 5 openers immediately started fighting like crazy. Chang Sunbumi and Ji Wuden, although there were only 2 of them, had strong and terrifying auras. They did not fall behind in the slightest, and even beat Ji Wuming and others. As expected of the strong men who have hit the top lane, Chang Sunbumi and Ji Wuden are very strong. With 2 against 3, they still have the upper hand. No wonder back then, in order to cut off their path, even the ultimate took action himself. The ultimate failure in proving the truth back then, not only did he not die, he is still so strong. Chang Sun Mingduan, Ji Chishi and others were all shocked. A young man like you is worthy of fighting with us. Ji Wuden shouted loudly and blasted out a palm, immediately knocking Ning Yuanju away. Chang Sun's immortal spear was even more terrifying, and he roared. "Look at my dog-killing marksmanship." With fire in his eyes, he killed in all directions, and a profound rule evolved in the spear. During this period of time, because he was grinding his teeth against the big black dog, he figured out a set of marksmanship skills to use specifically to deal with the big black dog. Therefore, this set of marksmanship was so cruel and powerful that Ji Wuming and others were unable to resist and retreated continuously. In the blink of an eye, Chang Sunbumi and Ji Wuden were almost ready to win. Boom! At this moment, a space suddenly opened in the sky, and there were about 10 people in it. It's Senior Zhang Shangxiu, the strongest man in the world. Suddenly, Ji Chishi, Chang Sun Mingduan and others were all pleasantly surprised. "Fellow Taoists, why are you here? Come on, help us kill these two traitors. Take action quickly." Ji Wuming and others all shouted hurriedly and were overjoyed. Now that they were about to lose, the sudden arrival of a dozen strong reinforcements was a life-saving straw. Zhang Shangxiu and others were also very shocked and angry when they suddenly saw Ji Wuden and others. "Ji Wuden, the eldest grandson is immortal, you two traitors, how dare you show up? Take action and kill them. Kill!" They all roared and wanted to take action. However, at this moment, one of the old men suddenly stepped out and said to Ji Wuming, "Brother Ji, where is Wu Zhizi? Where is he?" His face was full of fear. After hearing what he said, the others stopped immediately, their expression serious. Although Ji Wuden and Chang Sunbumi are very strong, they are not the ones on the road after all. In front of so many of them, they are not worth mentioning at all. However, Wu Jianghe is known as the ultimate Shura, who is not afraid of him. If Wu Jianghe was here, let alone 11 of them, even if all the 9 immortal ancient clans who opened the door came, it wouldn't be enough for them to kill. Hearing this, Ji Wuming hurriedly shouted, "Ultimate Shura didn't come, don't be afraid, this chess formation is isolated from the outside world, the only ones coming in are the 2 of them." Hearing this, Zhang Shangxiu and others glanced around, and sure enough they didn't see Wu Jiji, and they finally let go of their worries. "Hurry up, don't wait any longer, Shizun is alive, kill Chang Sunbumo and Ji Wuden quickly, and then destroy them." Ning Yuanju also shouted loudly. Suddenly, these 11 strong men were extremely shocked. 10 respects for students. This is a shocking event. Kill. Let them all be buried here today. Take action. Everyone shouted, and they all took action at this moment. The 11 people who opened the door had their cultivations fully opened, and their auras were so shocking that they almost tore the sky apart. They came hand in hand to directly show the Taoist scenery. Suddenly, more than a dozen Taoist scenery overlapped and were displayed, containing hundreds of millions of powerful forces, almost crushing the sky. "Damn it, do you think you can be so rampant without Lao Wu here?" Ji Wuden shouted loudly and said in a ferocious voice. "Let you see what it means to be on the road." Behind him, an ethereal space suddenly appeared. In that world, there was actually a broken road, and on the broken road, there were broken rules of the avenue. At this moment, he drove the Dao scenery to suppress it, and the broken road burst into light. We have also embarked on the ultimate road. Even if we fail, we have seen that road, and it will not be humiliated by a little kid like you. Wujiang River also releases a scenic spot, and a broken road appears. The 2 people's Dao Jingjing emerged, and actually directly blocked the Dao Jingjing of the 14 people on the road, making it impossible for the enemy to advance. Is this the horror of Daojing Road? They have only hit the road before, but they already have such terrifying strength. Qualified on the road, in a sense, they are invincible when they are on the road. What should I do? Could it be that we can't kill them? Everyone was a little frightened. Don't panic, everyone, they will definitely die today. At this moment, in Ning Yuanji's Dao scenery, a figure suddenly appeared. That was a man with an extremely extraordinary and powerful aura. Ning's ultimate, Senior Ning Tianji. Seeing this figure, everyone was instantly shocked. Ning Tianji, one of the ultimate ones. But isn't he in the temple of sacrifice? Nowadays, no ultimate person can come out of the world's sacrifice temple, because many ultimates are afraid of each other, fearing that someone will take advantage of the opportunity to leave the world's sacrifice temple and use the method of blood rushing into the sea of mist. This is a Dharma body puppet left to me by my elder brother. It was contaminated with his ultimate energy and was raised by me in the Taoist landscape. Ning Yuanji spoke, he looked at Ji Wuden and others, and said, "You have hit the road before, you are indeed extraordinary, but in front of my brother's Dharma body puppet, you are just like ants." He shouted loudly, and immediately, his Dao Jingdi was crushed away. Ning Tianji's Dharma body puppet exudes terrifying energy in his Dao scenery. At this moment, Ji Wuden and Chang Sunbumi's Dao Jingdi were directly forced to retreat, and even disappeared from the world. Even though they were amazing and talented, they failed to successfully set foot on the road in the scenic spot. They were unable to resist Ning Tianji's personality. Damn it, if only Lao Wu was here. Ji Wuden gritted his teeth. I'm not convinced. Chang Sunbumi was extremely unwilling, but the spear was trembling and he couldn't resist. Haha, you two traitors, today, I will make you completely disappear from this world. Ning Yuanji sneered, and the scene suddenly fell. Small village. In the small courtyard, under the peach tree. Big Demon King, look, your 2 chess pieces are going to be eaten. If you eat your 2 chess pieces, you are about to lose. Yun 11 had a happy smile in her eyes. Now, she was finally gaining the upper hand. However, Li Fan smiled slightly, dropped his voice, and said, "You are going to be eaten by me. There is an ambush here." He pointed to 2 chess positions on the chessboard. Yun 11's beautiful eyes were suddenly surprised and said, "Ah, aren't the positions of these 2 chess pieces already dead? How, are they still alive? Heaven descends to the continent. Sacrifice the world in the mountains." At this moment, Chang Sunbumi and Ji Wuden could no longer hold it any longer. They resisted with difficulty, but their Taoist scenery was almost completely lost. These 2 traitors are going to die eventually. Great, 2 of the 9 tribes have died. This is a great thing. Ji Chishi, Chang Sun Mingduan, and others all looked very happy at this moment. On the other side, Yang Tian clenched his fists and his eyes were red. He couldn't wait to rush forward and have a fight. However, his cultivation level is too far away from the one who opened the door. In this level of fighting, he can't even come close. Is God going to kill us? Chang Sunbumi held a spear and fought to the point of madness, with blood flowing from the tiger's mouth. Ji Wuden's mouth was bleeding, but he was furious and said, "We can die, but the 10 reincarnations must not cause any problems. Fight." He fought frantically for his life, but he couldn't stop it. Suffer death. Ning Yuanji shouted again and went all out. At the same time, other people who opened the door also came to kill. But in an instant, Chang Sunbumi and Ji Wuden will die. However, at this moment, a voice suddenly sounded in the void. "It's just a Dharmakaya puppet, how dare you be so aggressive?" Then, from the void, a big hand suddenly penetrated into Ning Yuanji's Dao scenery. The puppet in Ning Yuan's Dao scenery, was directly picked up by this big hand and grabbed out of the Dao scenery. Ah! Ning Yuanji let out a shrill scream and fell to the ground on the spot, twitching all over. His Taoist scenery quickly disappeared until it was gone. Suddenly, everyone who opened the door was shocked. What's going on? Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 935. A big hand suddenly appeared from the void and snatched Ning Tianji's Dharma body puppet out of Ning Yuanji's Dao scenery. This shocked everyone. What happened? Someone reached out and snatched Senior Ning Tianji's Dharma body puppet from Brother Ning's Dao scenery. How is this possible? Unless you are the ultimate person, only the ultimate person can do this. Is it Wu Jianghe? At this moment, Ji Wuiming and others looked shocked, trembling and hurriedly retreated. Opposite, Ji Wudan and Chang Sunbumi were a little surprised at this moment, but they murmured. It's not Lao Wu. That's not Wu Jianghe's voice. Just when everyone was puzzled, they saw this world, as if reality and reality were intertwined, as if a mysterious and unpredictable world had arrived. The first one to arrive was the Yujiao altar. The altar was made of 5-color soil. It was very simple, as if countless years had passed, and it exuded some kind of supreme aura. No. Isn't this the sacrificial altar made by the Yang family and the Zhang family back then? Someone spoke up and recognized the origin of this corner altar. Suddenly, everyone was even more shocked. Back then, Yang Daomei, the ancestor of the Yang family, and Zhang Yunzheng, the ancestor of the Zhang family, held a sacrifice ceremony together. Something strange happened. Everything in the entire sacrifice mountain disappeared. It is said that they suffered great strangeness and great terror, and no longer exist in this world. How can the altar reappear now? No. Could it be that those who took action were their ghosts? Everyone was uneasy. Ji Wudan and Chang Sunbumi were also stunned. This scene is so amazing. Things that had disappeared unexpectedly reappeared. Was this an encounter with a ghost? Boom boom. Finally, the altars all landed. Appeared at the summit of Mount Sacrifice. But on the altar, 2 old men were seen sitting cross-legged. One of them has a rather plump figure, with a head full of white hair, a ruddy complexion, and a rather plump body. The other person was extremely thin, dressed in white robes, and silent. In the hands of the rich old man, he was playing with a humanoid doll at the moment. That humanoid doll was clearly Ning Tianji's Dharma body puppet. Seeing these 2 people, everyone in the audience was immediately shocked. No. It's them. Is it really them? Ji Wuiming was so frightened that he took a few steps back, his face pale and stunned. Yang Daomei, Zhang Yunzheng, impossible, haven't they completely disappeared? The 5th mother-in-law of Zhenqi Pavilion turned pale and pale, as if she had seen a ghost. Is this a ghost? Wu Zhang spoke with a trembling voice. Even Chang Sunbumi, Ji Wudan, Yang Tian, and others were stunned, their eyes filled with disbelief. Qi Fenglan, Qing Shenglan, etc. are very afraid. The whole audience is watching. Have we descended into this world from that Taoist landscape? The thin old man in white robe spoke now, looked around, with thoughts in his eyes, and said. Did someone complete the ultimate mission of sacrificing the world? Otherwise, how could her Taoist scenery be opened? The old man in white robe was clearly Zhang Yunzheng. It's the aura of the present world, it's unmistakable. At least Ning Tianji's grandson's puppet body, the feeling is the same when fighting. The rich old man opened his mouth and flicked the butt of the humanoid puppet in his hand. No, in this life, there is no aura of ultimate sacrifice. Zhang Yunzheng frowned and spoke. He glanced at Ji Wuiming and others and said, they are still just the ones opening the door. If someone really completes the ultimate sacrifice, then, the weakest in this world should be on the road. There are changes in this life. You and I should have been summoned by the Supreme Being from her Dao scenery. No matter what, we must have a mission when we appear. Yang Daomei opened his mouth and scanned the field one by one as he spoke. Brother Yang, are you dead? Chang Sunbumi spoke excitedly. Brother Zhang, you died unjustly. It's all the fault of the 9 immortal ancient clan for preventing the 3 of us from traveling. That's why you were left alone and helpless, and died tragically and strangely. Xuanhuan said hurriedly. Quick, take action now and kill these scum of the 9 major families. Both of them regarded Yang Daomei and Zhang Yunzheng as dead people. Yang Daomei and Zhang Yunzheng were stunned when they heard this. But then they burst out laughing. Ha ha ha, dead person. Yang Daomei said. How could I, Yang Daomei, die? Back then, Manzun didn't kill me, so who else could kill me? He was very arrogant, walked down from the altar in one step, and said. We didn't die, but we had great opportunities. Hearing this, Xuanhuan was overjoyed and said. Really? It turns out you, never died, great. Chang Sun Buletin Mi raised his spear and poked Yang Daomei, then he was overjoyed and said. It's really a living person, not a soul. Yang Daomei. At this moment, Zhang Yunzheng also walked out and said. What's going on here? Chang Sunbumi and Xuanhuan had already told them all about the series of shocking changes that were about to happen in Shishi Mountain. What, the reappearance of the 9 arts? Yang Daomei and Zhang Yunzheng were immediately shocked. Their eyes glanced at the 9 white rainbows in the field, and they suddenly became very excited. It's really the aura of the 9 arts. In this white rainbow, there is the true inheritance of the 9 arts. Zhang Yunzheng was very pleasantly surprised and said, this should be, the backup plan she left behind. Yang Daomei shook his head and said. No. These 9 methods, seem to be more perfect than what we have practiced. Do you still remember that the 9 Dharma is what is left before entering the end of the world and crossing the taboo, and the 9 Dharma, is not perfect. Therefore, the success rate of the ultimate sacrificial method is only 50%. He looked at the white rainbows and said excitedly. But the magic in these white rainbows, seems to be perfect. Is there anyone who can complete the magic she created? How, is this possible? After hearing the conversation between the two, everyone else was also shocked. What? The 9 methods in these 9 white rainbows are actually more perfect than those created by 10,000 Paths Terminus. It's impossible, the end of 10,000 Paths is the strongest person in the Beiwu ancestral realm. Who in the world can beat her? This is too scary. What terrible things are happening behind the scenes in the true ancestor realm? I feel that our 9 major families are just like ants being manipulated by others. Is there a possibility that she at the end of 10,000 paths did not die, and came back, promoting her dharma and becoming more complete? Ji Wuming and others made various guesses, but any guess made them tremble with fear and they did not dare to think too much. The things I saw today were more terrifying than the last. The reincarnation of 10 gods led to the ultimate palace. Yang Daomei and Zhang Yunzheng, who were supposed to be dead, actually reappeared. It is even possible now that Wan Dao Dingman may be back. Could it even be someone stronger than her? Isn't this outrageous? It directly exceeded their imagination. Impossible, this is impossible. That woman is completely dead. Qi Fenglin and others were all shocked and in disbelief. If she is still alive, Grey Miss C, can she win? Qing Shenglin was a little worried. If she comes back, the Grey Miss C will suffer the pain of purgatory. Grit your teeth in relief. Even though countless years have passed since the end of Wan Dao, when she might reappear in this world, Qi Fenglin and the others, all felt a sense of panic. Even Chang Sunbumi and Ji Wuden were in a daze. How could these 9 white rainbows have such a shocking origin? What kind of big shot is behind this sudden change in Tianjiang continent? Is he plotting against the entire true ancestor realm and the entire Grey Mist Sea? They feel that there are unimaginable beings behind the scenes, and they may be setting up a shocking plot. The third update is really tiring, so I'll forget about the second update from now on. It's better to live a little salty life. Good night. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 936. Small Village. In the small courtyard, the chess game has changed. Yongzi's two hidden sons have appeared at this moment, and they have taken advantage of them. Her chess game came to life. Really, my chess game is alive. Yun 11 looked at the chessboard, blinked, and said, "It's a pity that I only live 2 eyes. It would be nice if I had more." Li Fan also smiled and said, "How can we get more chess pieces like this?" Yun 11 thought for a long time, but still had no answer in her heart. Li Fan was not in a hurry. He had been thinking about this answer for a long time. He immediately made his move and said, "Be careful, I'm about to invade in a big way." Yongzi looked at the chessboard and said, "A massive invasion? I'm not afraid of you." Everyone in the chess field was shocked by the words of Yang Daomei and Zhang Yunzheng. I couldn't help myself for a long time. Good, good. The old monk Shizu spoke with a look of emotion on his face and said, "If she can come back, everyone in the world will be blessed." Kazu murmured, "It should be her, coming back strong, to complete the 9 skills." At this moment, Chiziu was even more anxious and said, "Left eye, please open it quickly. That woman may be back. If you open your right eye in front of her, you will be beaten violently. I don't want to be beaten." However, the left eye still pretended to be dead. The chess ancestor had no choice but to feel his heart pounding. At this moment, he took the initiative to close his right eye and stop talking. The 10 deities have also been reborn. Chang Sunbumi then spoke to Zhang Li and the others on the side. Yang Daomei and Zhang Yunzheng walked over, their faces extremely solemn. "Meet the 3 supreme beings." They saluted directly and were very excited. Even though their cultivation in this life has been extremely high, and the reincarnation of the 10 saints is just the beginning, they still have full respect for the 10 saints and dare not disrespect them. Zhang Li nodded and said, "You two don't have to be polite." The 2 of them stood up, their eyes full of surprise and emotion, and said, "The 3 supreme beings are actually reincarnated. This shows that the one at the end of 10,000 paths must have succeeded." They spoke. Hearing this, Zhang Li said doubtfully, "What do you two mean?" Zhang Yunzheng said, "Qizun, when we held the ritual of sacrificing the world, it was not something strange that the world said. Actually, after we held the sacrifice, we entered the Dao scenery at the end of 10,000 paths. So, we're seeing some truth." Hearing this, Zhang Li and others were all surprised. The scenic spot at the end of 10,000 roads. "My dear, I see, this is not weird, this is a great opportunity." Chang Sunbumi and others were all in a daze. The scenic spot at the end of 10,000 paths is a supreme place. How many opportunities does it contain? Unimaginable. If the ultimate masters such as Ji Wulu and others in the world sacrifice temple knew about it, I'm afraid they would not hesitate to directly perform the world sacrifice technique, right? Back then, the one at the end of 10,000 paths prevented all disasters for the ancestral world. She walked on the legendary ancient road, had a life and death fight, and reached the edge of the taboo. Zhang Yunzheng continued to speak and said, "Before she entered the forbidden place, she seemed to have discovered some great secret. She lingered for a long time and realized the 9 methods, which were spread throughout the true ancestor realm. Moreover, she also left a scenic spot to connect the true ancestor realm with that taboo place. As long as the true ancestor realm holds a sacrifice to the world and travels around the world, it seems that it can arouse some unimaginable the change." After saying this, Zhang Li and others looked at each other in shock. The end of 10,000 roads has gone further than they did back then. Only by fighting through the sea of grey fog can we see the legendary ancient road. And is that ancient road connected to a forbidden place? She attained enlightenment in front of the forbidden place and passed down the 9 Dharma. Then she connected the forbidden place with the end of 10,000 paths using the Taoist land. What is she planning? What exactly is she dealing with? From this point of view, the ultimate purpose of why she left the 9 Dharma in the true ancestor realm is very likely. Is it related to the forbidden place? The overall situation from eons ago is still shrouded in mystery to this day, and no one knows. Then she entered the forbidden area. Although she doesn't know what happened next, the fact that several supreme beings were able to reincarnate means that what she wanted to do must have been successful. Zhang Yunzheng spoke. I see. Zhang Li thought. I dare to ask Qizun, is the end of Wan Dao really coming back? At this moment, Yang Daomei spoke with great anxiety. This answer is too important to them. Zhang Li nodded and said. She has come back. Hearing this, Yang Daomei and Zhang Yunzheng were immediately overjoyed. Great, great. Zhang Yunzheng was extremely excited and said. In this life, with her here, the true ancestor realm has nothing to fear. Yang Daomei was also very excited. Seeing the joyful expressions of the two people, Zhang Li did not tell them that Wandao Dingman also died, but was reincarnated. Correct. Yang Daomei suddenly spoke and continued. The two of us sacrificed ourselves back then, but failed, but something happened at the other end of the passage. It seemed that someone was interfering and wanted to destroy the passage she left there. We have to go to the Grey Mist Sea to protect it. Zhang Yunzheng also nodded and said. It is true. Now, the true ancestor realm has not yet taken off across the world. It can be seen that her big plan is still being prepared. We must not let the other side of the passage be damaged. Although the two of them entered the Dao scenery at the end of 10,000 paths by virtue of the sacrifice, the passage was not really activated, and they could not reach the other side directly from the passage. Instead, you have to enter the Grey Fog Sea from reality and find the place where the passage is. Zhang Li said. Today's Tianyuan cannot allow the ultimate to pass through. As soon as he finished speaking, a voice suddenly sounded. The strong one comes and kills everything. The strong one comes and kills everything. It's Qi Fenglin. While Zhang Li and others were talking, he discovered that he could actually contact the Grey Mist Sea. Therefore, without any hesitation, he directly activated the real bone in his hand. In an instant, a grey light emerged from the real bones, turning into a world that seemed as if it were both illusory and real. Tiangang Overlord, Disha Overlord, something bad has happened. 10,000 paths end may still be alive, and the 10 gods and 2 evil spirits will be reincarnated. Please take action. He whispered that he wanted to pass the news of this place through Dao Jingdi. He was born in the Grey Mist Haiwan Qi sect, and the real bone he brought this time was none other than the Tiangang Overlord of the Yuan Qi section, the real bones of the Earth Evil Overlord. At this moment, on the other side of the abyss, in the Grey World, countless scarlet eyes are paying attention and waiting. The armies of all races have even gathered. Has the backhand of 10,000 roads end been broken? As soon as her backhand is broken, we can invade in a big way. Total destruction of this world. Many powerful people are whispering. Suddenly, boom! The Grey Avenue roared, and a terrifying Taoist scene appeared, covering the sky. Is it the direction of the Origin Qi section that can cause such a big commotion? Is it the Overlord level figure who manifested the Dao Jingdi? The Tiangang Overlord and the Disha Overlord, their true bones were brought over by Qi Fenglin. Now that they are manifested, there must be news from over there. What on earth happened? In the Sea of Grey Fog, all living beings are extremely concerned. At the same time, in the Grey Mist Sea, there are many buildings standing among the grey peaks and forests scattered like stars. On the highest mountain peak, there is a grey palace. In the Tao Palace, 2 powerful creatures were soaked in the grey source pool. At this moment, the 2 of them suddenly opened their eyes. Astonishingly, they are the two chess overlords of the Yuan-Chi sect, the Tiangang overlord and the Disha overlord. The Taoist scenery has been opened. Tiangang whispered, as soon as he thought of it, he would receive the news from Dao Jingdi. But, at this moment, both of them suddenly saw Ichika. Huh? Why do I feel like a black shadow flashed before my eyes just now? The Disha overlord whispered. Impossible, it must be because our eyesight is dazzled. Our energy has not recovered yet. Tiangang shook his head and didn't take it to heart. And at this moment, in the Dao scenery of Tiangang overlord. But suddenly a big black dog appeared. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 937. Woof. In the Dao scenery of Tiangang overlord, there was a strong black dog, with its tail erect, showing off its power, pawing everywhere with its paws, and then said, "The overlord-level creatures in this world are all under my supervision. Are you trying to get involved in the ancestral world? Don't even think about it," it said, and saw a rune message flowing from the other side of the Dao Jingdi. The big black dog glanced at it and immediately understood the message. The end of 10,000 paths may still be alive, and the 10 gods and 2 evil spirits are reincarnated. If the Supreme Being takes action, the 10 killing formation cannot break the chess game of end of 10,000 paths. This is the content of the original message. Wow, this emperor needs to change this information. How to change it? Wow, the chess game is ready. It thought for a moment, and then cast its spell quickly with its paws. Then, this message rune was passed on. Yuankai sect, in the Grey Yuankai. How is it? What's going on? The Disha overlord asked with concern. Tiangang overlord hesitated for a moment and said, "Why does the information feel delayed? It shouldn't be." But then his eyes lit up and he said, "Coming." After reading for a moment, a look of shock appeared on his face and he said, "One of the 10 spirits in that white mist world, Xuanhuan, is not dead. It's still alive, and it destroyed our 10 kill formation." Hearing this, the Disha overlord was immediately shocked. Xuanhuan actually didn't die. The Disha overlord murmured. Xuanhuan is a white mist divine beast that can only survive in the white mist world. It has supreme blood and was born with the supreme chess skills on its back. Even Luo Gui, who loses chess, only has some Xuanhuan mixed blood. If Xuanhuan is really not dead, and it controls the chess game at the end of the world, who in the world can break it? Tiangang overlord took a deep breath and said, "Notify other chess masters immediately. We must not sit back and watch." Suddenly, news spread from Yuan-Chi sect, shocking everyone. Xuanhuan is not dead? How is this possible? Aren't all the 10 spirits and 10 medicines in the white mist world already fallen? No wonder this world has caused us to lose troops and generals. With an existence like Xuanhuan alive, we can't take it lightly. There was a lot of discussion in the Grey Fog Sea. At the same time, the top 10 chess masters reunited again. Xuanhuan is still alive, this is indeed beyond our expectation. The Disha overlord spoke and said, "If Xuanhuan is not eradicated, it will be impossible to crack the chess game at the end of the world." An old turtle from the negative chess Luo turtle tribe said in a secret way. "We work together to kill him. If we can bathe in Xuanhuan blood, we will take another step forward." There are 3 major chess overlords in the Luogui clan, and they are born with a trace of Xuanhuan blood, so they know how precious the blood of that creature is. Whatever Xuanhuan is, it's just floating clouds. The Black Overlord was even more disdainful. Although his hair had become extremely clean due to the 14 changes of the 7-piece chess formation he had solved last time, he was still domineering now and said. We will directly cross the border and fight to the death with that Xuanhuan. The top 10 chess masters are here in person. I don't believe that an old Xuanhuan can stop him. Hearing this, the other overlords couldn't help but nod. Okay, Taoist brother Tiangang, let's borrow your Taoist scenery and let's go there. They spoke directly. Immediately, the 10 overlords headed to the true ancestor realm from the Daijing land of Tiangang overlord. Of course, this time they learned the lesson and used special methods to keep the Tiangang overlord Dao scenery open at any time, so that they could return at any time. As soon as the news came out, the sea of grey mist boiled instantly. Xuanhuan, one of the 10 spirits in the white mist world, is still alive, and it controls the chess formation at the end of 10,000 paths. The 10 overlords have crossed the border and are going to fight Xuanhuan for a life or death showdown. This can be called the pinnacle battle of chess. Xuanhuan is said to be born with the responsibility of chess, and the top 10 overlords are even more extraordinary. Can they successfully massacre Xuanhuan? Don't worry, although Xuanhuan is a divine beast, it can't grow at all in the true ancestor realm. It can't even pass the 4th stage. It's not good enough to face the overlord who has already completed the 4th stage. The entire Grey Mist Sea is looking forward to it. At the same time, the Liu Ba of the three-winged ferocious deer clan and other overlords also woke up and paid attention to this matter. Now, heaven descends to the continent. Sacrifice the world in the mountains. Chief England's face was extremely excited. Finally contacted the Grey Mist seaside. He looked at everyone in the field, with a hint of ferocity in his eyes. What about Yang Daomei and Zhang Yunzheng? What about the reincarnations of the 10 deities? Once the strong men in the Grey Mist Sea set out, they would all die. It just so happens that the true bones in his hands can build a bridge for us to the past true ancestor realm. Yang Daomei looked at Chief England, but his eyes lit up. They were worried. After all, the abyss left by the end of 10,000 paths could only allow the powerful below the one who opened the door to pass. As a result, Chief England directly made such a move. This is called dozing off, and someone handed him a pillow. Boom. Immediately afterwards, figures suddenly appeared in the Dao scenery that Chief England opened. They came from the other side of the Dao Jingdi, and around everyone, they were surrounded by Xuanhuan chess lines, and their aura was shocking. 10 in total. No. This is stronger than the ultimate. Ji Wuming and others looked shocked. It's a big shot from the Grey Mist Sea. Great, they are coming, no matter who they are, they will die. Immediately, they were all pleasantly surprised. Kifenglan, Kingshenglan, Shixin, etc. are even more surprising. Greetings, my lords. Chief England and others saluted respectfully. And these 10 people observed it for a moment from the Dao scenery. What a strong chess game! It's actually more complicated than the 7-piece chess game we saw before. No wonder, the chess game is like this, the 10-kill formation is no longer enough. They all spoke. Immediately, everyone walked out of the Taoist scenery. For the record, my lords, the situation here is very complicated. Chief England opened his mouth, preparing to introduce the specific situation. However, Tiangang Overlord shook his head and said, "No need to say more, we all know." As he spoke, he looked towards Zhang Li and others in front of him. It is indeed it. The 3 powerful men from the Luogui clan who lost chess were extremely excited at this moment. Set up the formation and kill it. As long as you kill it, the chess formation here will no longer change, and we can calm down and slowly crack it. Black Zetsu spoke directly. Suddenly, the 10 overlords all took action directly. Tiangang killing formation. Tiangang overlord shouted loudly, and there seemed to be countless chess pieces rising and falling around him, evolving into a terrifying killing array, with a breathtaking aura. Earth-destroying, heaven-destroying formation. The Earth Fiend Overlord whispered, and the 10,000 chessboards fell, as if they were going to slay the heavens. The formation of 10,000 tribulations and no life. An overlord of the Luo turtle clan, a mysterious light lights up on the turtle shell. They all took action. Countless killing formations were all heading towards Zhongli and others. On Zhongli's shoulder, the little turtle looked at the many chess killing formations approaching. A flash of thought flashed in the turtle's eyes, which were quite solemn. Then he rolled his eyes and said, "He's coming for you three. Hurry and spread out. There are so many chess formations gathered together, it's hard to deal with them." Zhongli thought for a moment, nodded, and said, "Let's spread out and destroy them one by one." Immediately, he, Lu Rang, and Qing Chen all disappeared. The little turtle stayed where he was and muttered, "Well, using the three of them as bait, I can use my chess formation to kill these big guys." It was a master in chess and formations, and it knew what the top 10 overlords would do. Therefore, it allowed Zhongli and the others to leave. The three of them go separately so that it can better find the flaw. But, the next moment, the little turtle raised his eyes and was shocked. Because, Lu Rang and the three of them all dodged away, and as a result, the 10-layered shocking killing formation did not chase the three of them at all. Instead, are they all coming towards me? Nima. The little turtle's eyes suddenly went straight. What the hell is this? Are these chess overlords really here for me? There is none left. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 938. The 10 overlords came in person, and the 10 layers of terrifying killing formations fell directly. The aura is shocking, and every killing formation is the result of these chess overlords' lifelong chess efforts. Even if they are placed in the sea of grey mist, they can still kill overlord-level creatures. In fact, if the sacrifice mountain here were not shrouded by Li Fan's chess formation, then any chess overlord's killing formation might have triggered the power of destruction. Even so, these chess killing formations are still shocking and terrifying. The little turtle was currently under the cover of the tenfold killing array. Nah, someone cheated me, someone cheated me. The little turtle's eyes were filled with anger. In an instant, he understood that something must have gone wrong. Otherwise, how could my hatred value be higher than that of the 10 reincarnations? However, it was too late to curse now. On its turtle shell, the black and white chess lines were also lighting up. It is walking through many killing formations. If I want to kill you, Lord Turtle, there is no way. It was cursing, and many killing formations were approaching, but it was as if it was walking on flat ground. Many terrifying calamities have been avoided by it. This turtle, why is it so scary? It actually understood the flaws in the killing formations of many chess overlords. On the other side, Chi Fenglin was shocked when he saw this scene. It should be noted that the ones taking action now are the top 10 chess masters, representing the pinnacle of chess skills on the other side of the Grey Mist Sea. They took action at the same time, and the entire Grey Mist Sea, from the true ancestor level down, had only one way to die. But, this turtle can actually survive. As expected of Xuanhuan, its chess formation skills are very high. Tiangang Overlord and others also had solemn expressions. If this continues, it will be difficult to kill it completely. The overlord of the Luogui clan was unwilling to lose. Heiju stared at Xuanhuan and said coldly, "He just discovered a flaw in our killing array, so he was able to wander away." The 10 layers of killing formations merge into one, directly locking the layer of space where it is located, completely covering it, and not giving it any chance. Immediately, the other overlords also nodded. Immediately, they joined forces. 10 layers of chess formations, stacked together. The moment the Tiangang killing formation merged with the earthly demon killing formation, it was like the stars in the sky were shaking. The 10,000 Tribulation inanimate formation intersects with the Xuanhuan purgatory formation, erupting into billions of murderous intentions. The 10 major formations blended into each other and fell at the same time. At this moment, the little turtle looked up at the sky and felt like scolding his mother. Damn, force Mr. Turtle to fight to the death. I haven't fully understood Turtle's 10 lives chess formation yet, and I really don't want to take action now. It is helpless. It carries the 9 life chess formation on its back, which is mysterious and unpredictable. 9 lives is not the limit, it is always enlightening and understanding the secret of 10 lives. Now I have to work hard in advance. Its turtle shell emits some mysterious light. But, right now. Zioba, why bother? A melancholy voice suddenly sounded. In the chess field, a young man with a melancholy temperament suddenly walked slowly. Under his feet, the black and white chess lines evolved endless changes, as if he was walking among the heavens, with all the ups and downs of the world. Astonishingly, it was the evil corpse of Xuanhuan. He stepped forward calmly, but the chess line under his feet seemed to have evolved a supreme secret power. His movement was like thunder from the 9 heavens, and he actually tore a section of the 10-fold killing formation of 10 overlords alive. Then, he took one step forward and appeared next to the little turtle. The little turtle was immediately enveloped by his chess formation. The 10-layer overlord killing formation that had just killed Tianyu and destroyed the world, in front of him, was actually like this. Vulnerable. Seeing this scene, everyone present was shocked. He can actually compete with the top 10 chess overlords. How is this possible? The killing formations of the top 10 chess overlords are fused together. They are killing 4 levels and below. Even if he is the evil corpse of the chess master, he didn't finish the 4 levels back then, right? Everyone was very shocked. The top 10 chess masters were all shocked and stared at the evil corpse of the chess master. One of the 10 chess masters. Is the chess formation under his feet the legendary chess formation back then? The blood vomiting formation is known as the best trapped formation in the world, even in the sea of grey fog. It is also known as the indestructible death formation. The 10 chess masters were all extremely dignified. They recognized the identity of Xuanhuan's evil corpse. He even recognized his chess formation. The blood vomiting formation is equally famous in the Grey Fog Sea, and is known as the number 1 trap formation. At that time, Xuanhuan fought all over the Sea of Grey Fog. He vomited blood and trapped countless strong men in the grey fog to death, causing the Sea of Grey Fog to change color. Moreover, when Xuanhuan set foot on that ancient road, he generously left the blood vomiting formation and chess records in the Grey Fog Sea for the Grey Fog Sea to study. In the Grey Mist Sea in later generations, there were many chess masters who read the records of vomiting blood. As a result, without exception, they all ended up vomiting blood and died. Over time, the blood vomiting array was also known as the world's best magic array and the most unsolvable dead end. The blood vomiting spectrum left by the chess master was jointly listed as a banned book by the chess masters in the Grey Mist Sea, and chess cultivation was not allowed. Check it out. The people in the field are all the top overlord level chess masters in the Grey Mist Sea. Therefore, although they dare not study the blood vomiting spectrum in depth, they still know a little bit about the blood vomiting spectrum. When Xuanhuan heard this, he said, "The first trap. An unsolvable dead end." He sighed with emotion and said, "I was on the road in a hurry and didn't have time to unravel the spectrum of blood vomiting, so I left it to future generations. But never thought that no one would be able to unravel it for eternity." He shook his head, looked at the little turtle beside him, and said, "Zioba, have you untied it? If it is solved, I will let you live. Otherwise, die with me. After all, I will die alone and no one will play chess with me. It will be lonely. Is that okay?" When the little turtle heard this, he was immediately shocked, shook his head hurriedly and said, Forget it, you'd better die in peace. Don't talk about me anymore. It's the new year and the holidays, so I'll just burn some more paper money for you. It said, subconsciously trying to escape. However, a chess formation flashed past in an instant, trapping it. Zioba, no. You just left like this, how could you? Chess Master Evil Corpse said. Let's do this, you come to break the blood vomiting spectrum? If it breaks, you can leave. Otherwise, you should die with me. As he spoke, he raised his hand. In an instant, his chess formation filled the heavens, enveloped the heavens, was complex and profound, and wanted to cover everyone in the field. No. How dare you attack us? Tiangang Overlord's face changed drastically, he became furious, and endless chess lines broke out to suppress the chess master's formation. So what if I attack you? The chess master was indifferent, and the chess lines were empty. Suddenly, all the chess lines of the Tiangang Overlord were disintegrated, and he himself fell into the battle, his face pale. Work together to resist, and we must not enter the blood-vomiting formation. The strong men of Luogui clan shouted, and several of them joined forces to defend. When sheep gather together, they are still sheep. Your cooperation is really ridiculous. The chess master sarcastically said that as soon as the chess line reached, the chess formations of these powerful players all disappeared. They were all exhausted and trapped on the ground. Retreat, retreat quickly. Heiju saw that something was wrong, so he turned around and ran away. The sky is big and the earth is big, but it's all foggy and foggy. Where can you go? The chess master Evil Corpse continued to speak, and suddenly, the chess line in front of Heiju flashed past, and he returned to the blood-vomiting formation. The top 10 chess masters, at this moment, no one is spared, they all join the battle. Not only them, but also Yang Daomei, Zhang Yunzheng, Chang Sunbumi, Ji Wuden, and others on the side were shrouded. Those who can break the pattern of vomiting blood will live, otherwise, everyone will die. Chess Lord Evil Corpse whispered, his eyes filled with melancholy. Hearing this, everyone looked extremely ugly. The spectrum of blood vomiting, the unbreakable trap, is this going to kill us? The Tiangang Overlord has collapsed. For all eternity, no one can understand. It's over. The rest of the chess overlords are also feeling cold at this moment. Even the little turtle whispered. Back then, chess master saw a broken chess game in a mountain and river, but he couldn't figure it out. He vomited blood for 3 fights, and he was depressed for the rest of his life. That broken game was called the blood vomiting spectrum by him. The spectrum of blood vomiting is something that Chizun has been obsessed with all his life. He never thought that he would become an evil corpse, and he is still talking about this. Having said this, it raised its eyes, suddenly looked to the other side, and said to Zhang Li, "Don't wait, kill him." Zhang Li also stepped out at this moment, his face was calm but firm. The score of vomiting blood is one of the 5 scores taught by Li Fan. That's weird. Good night. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Gui Xian. Chapter 939. Heaven descends to the continent and worships the world mountain. Everyone has been enveloped by the blood-vomiting formation of Chizun's evil corpse. Even the overlord-level creatures that roamed across the sea of grey mist and surpassed the 4 realms were unable to do anything at this moment. If the spectrum of hematmesis cannot be solved, death will be the outcome for everyone. At this moment, Zhang Li finally walked out slowly. Chizun also raised his eyes and looked at him. "You are my reincarnation." Chizun opened his mouth and said, "Can you break this situation? If you can't, your life is meaningless, what do you think?" Zhang Li heard this and said, "Your spectrum of hematmesis is incomplete." Oh, Chizun's eyes lit up. Zhang Li said, "The truly complete spectrum of vomiting blood is the unbreakable situation. After speaking, he raised his eyes towards the chess formation and said, "The key to the blood-vomiting array is the repeated game between ordinary chess pieces and leading chess pieces. Whenever a chess game is first formed, among the ordinary chess pieces, a dragon head will inevitably be born. Some chess pieces are destined to occupy high positions, overlooking the common people. Just like in troubled times, heroes emerge in large numbers. The dragon head chess piece originally came from ordinary chess pieces, just like the emperor came from recklessness. But princes and generals will eventually turn their backs on the people of the world, stand high above them, trample on the people, act recklessly, and cause chaos in the world. The same is true for the chess game. Success is the leader, and failure is the leader. Countries and mountains change, dynasties change. What is revealed in this blood-vomiting genealogy is the truth of the world. As for the being who committed the blood-vomiting, the key to his thinking is how to prevent those chess pieces in high positions from forgetting their true intentions and not turning into evil dragons. If you want to break the spectrum of vomiting blood, you must understand this." Zhang Li talked eloquently. Xuanhuan fell into deep thought. Things change, old dynasties continue to decline, new dynasties continue to rise, but in the end, everything rises and falls. The most powerful person can destroy an area with just a raise of his hand. The life and death of ordinary people can only be determined by a strong person's thought. A being who has no history of vomiting blood, but is still thinking, how can thousands of ordinary people and weak people be able to check and balance the most powerful people in the world? He murmured. How can this be? High and low, strong and weak, the same is true for any game of chess. Zhang Li said word by word. The best way to prevent emperors from trampling on the common people is to have no more emperors in the world. The best way to stop ordinary chess pieces from being restrained is to have everyone on this chessboard be like a dragon. When Xuanhuan heard this, he shook his head and said, "Impossible. Is there any way to survive together in this world?" Zhang Li said, "Of course." After speaking, he suddenly raised his hand and said, "That person once wrote the 5 music scores, and in it, there is the art of slaying dragons, there is the method of checks and balances, and there is a way for all the people in the world to be like dragons. Now, the road has been found, and people can live their lives." After the words fell, he suddenly stepped forward, and countless chess lights burst out around him. At the same time, among the 9 white rainbows of the Sacrifice Mountain, there are endless runes and secrets, etc., following him. The 9 dharmas fill the world and everyone is on the road. Then, everyone in the world will be equal, and there will be no distinction between high and low. The runes and other symbols in the 9 white rainbows suddenly fell down and poured water on every creature in the formation. These are the 9 true methods. It's so magical, it can ultimately sacrifice the world and lead the world. Xuanhuan was shocked. He was trembling. At this moment, he felt like he had seen a bright road. 9 methods. After obtaining the 9 methods, our broken paths can be reunited, and we can hit the road again, which is no longer far away. Chang Sunbumi also shouted in surprise and said, "Can we finally catch up with Lao Wu and become the ultimate?" Both of them are already at the peak of opening the door, ready to hit the road. However, because of the lack of inheritance of the 9 dharma, he was unable to embark on that path. Now, with the inheritance of the 9 dharma, their path has hope. These 9 methods are really more perfect than those created by 10,000 paths. And Yang Daomei was extremely shocked and said, "She's back. Is she so strong?" Zhang Yunzheng said, "These 9 perfections transcend the 4 views, and can go further." Next to them, Yang Tian, Yu Linglong and others were also shocked. Not only them, but Ji Wuming and others were also watered at this moment. The 9 methods we have mastered are wrong, and incomplete. Are these the real 9 methods? Ji Wuming was very excited. Why do I feel that the 9 methods are the bright road, and according to these 9 methods, sacrificing the world is the best choice? Wu Jiangan whispered. The 9 methods mastered by their 9 ancient immortal clans were incomplete, so the success rate of the ultimate sacrifice was only about 50%. But if it is today's 9 methods, 10%. Taking the world on the road, seems to be really possible. However, he immediately shook his head, it must not be like this. If that's the case, what's the point of their 9 ancient immortal clans? The small forces and ordinary cultivators who were originally driven by their enslavement can now grow to the same height as them. This is the 9 methods created by the end of 10,000 paths. Tiangang Overlord murmured, it's so amazing, the ultimate sacrifice to the world, is this going to violate a taboo? Even they have been baptized by the 9 dharmas. This is a completely different method from the grey mist road, there is no need to worship ghosts. How is this possible? The Disha Overlord's face was filled with an incredible look. The end of 10,000 paths is so amazing, I actually have the urge to cut off my grey fog path and practice the 9 dharma. The overlord of the Luagui clan was in a daze. No. We must not let these 9 methods spread. Otherwise, the true ancestor realm will grow to an extremely terrifying level. Even the grey mist sea may not be a match for the true ancestor realm. Heiju trembled, extremely frightened. The backhand left by 10,000 road end is too terrible. If these dharma judgments flow into the world, it won't take many years for the ultimate masters of the 9 dharma to emerge one after another in the world. As long as some people dare to try, then the ultimate sacrifice will be inevitable. A journey across the world seems to be just around the corner. A true ancestor realm that is taking the world by storm, to grey mist sea, that is his father, and it is a nightmare. Is this the way to unite the whole world? Chizun murmured that he had also been baptized by the 9 dharma and saw the supreme future in it. If you can get this method, there is no need to vomit blood anymore. He seemed to understand completely. And Zhang Li said, the blood vomiting spectrum is just a transitional chess game that the guy was thinking about. In the final blood vomiting spectrum, every chess piece will become the leader. Let's see the ending. He raised his hand and changed the chess game on the field. Wireless chess lines exploded. At this moment, the auras of all the beings enveloped in the field were soaring. Boom! Ji Wudan's auras suddenly surged, and his Taoist scenery reappeared. The broken rules of the road were reunited at this moment, forming a small road in the Taoist scenery. The same goes for Changsun Bumi. Even Ji Wuming, Ning Yuanzhu and others who were in weaker realms showed their strength on the chessboard. Even behind Yang Tian and Yu Linglong, Dao Jingdi appeared. That was the scene when they were on the road. Of course, Zhang Li only showed the final situation of the vomiting blood spectrum. Ji Wuden, Changsun Bumi, Yang Tian, etc. did not really go on the road immediately. They were just future scenes, awakened by Zhang Li at this moment. All beings are chess players, and the whole world is on the road. This is the final outcome of the blood vomiting spectrum. The situation of sharing the same fate. The situation of sharing the same fate. As Zhang Li spoke softly, behind him, the ultimate palace of chess suddenly appeared. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 940. The ultimate celestial phenomenon of chess appeared, and the palace appeared behind Zhang Li. Everyone in the field was shocked to the extreme. I seem to have seen the whole road, as if I have personally experienced the journey. Ji Wuden murmured. Just a moment ago, I walked into the future. Changsun Bumi was also extremely excited and said. Just now, although we didn't actually hit the road, Our consciousness has already gone through it. Yang Tian and Yu Linglong were even more shocked. Their realm is lower and they see more scenery. From 7 realms, 8 realms, to opening the door, on the road. This is equivalent to them walking through it in advance. They will no longer have shackles or bottlenecks in their future cultivation, because Zhang Li has already shown them the way forward. Just follow along and that's it. This is a supreme opportunity, a supreme opportunity. Yang Tian was extremely excited. Qi Zun is too strong. Yu Linglong respects the 10 reincarnations even more. Even Ji Wuming, Ning Yuanzhu, and others were ecstatic at this moment. We also saw the ultimate. I can become the ultimate. They were overjoyed. Zhang Li, on the other hand, just looked at the evil corpse of Qi Zun indifferently. Chess Master Evil Corpse looked at the chess game that had become easier in front of him. The melancholy look on his face was wiped away, revealing a cheerful smile. The situation of crossing together, the situation of crossing together, good, good, good. He said 3 good words in a row. You are stronger than me, I do deserve to die, ha ha ha. He laughed. Zhang Li shook his head and said, I'm not stronger than you, but I'm better off than you. I can follow that person and listen to his teachings, I can even get chess records that are more profound than the game of Tongdu. When Qi Zun heard this, he suddenly became depressed and said, Stop talking. I can't listen anymore. Back then, in order to learn a spectrum of blood vomiting, I vomited 300 liters of blood. It was not solved until death, and it became an evil corpse. The result, reincarnation is just a matter of good luck. You can read chess records like Tongdu game casually, and there are even more advanced ones. All roads lead to an end, but some people are born and study at the end of the road. What do you think? Do you really want to die? At this time, the little turtle spoke in a cowardly manner. Qi Zun was about to vomit blood. He glanced at the little turtle with some resentment, and then said to Zhang Li, Tell you a secret. Zhang Li said, What? Chess Master Evil Corpse said. The bastard soup is very tonic and delicious, especially the purebred Xuanhuan, it's especially good. You can try it. When Xuanhuan heard this, he became furious and said, Are you really human? What's the difference between you and that fat man? It was so angry. Normally, Wu Dade would be shouting about eating dog meat and scaring Dehei all day long. He would just watch the show on the side. Who would have thought that today, he would end up like this destiny stone? But Zhang Li was quite curious and said, Really? Is it fresh? Upon hearing this, Little Turtle was immediately shocked and looked straight at Zhang Li. This is so inhuman. Seeing this, Qi Zun burst into laughter and said, Fresh, of course fresh. After speaking, he waved his hand and said, Zioba, farewell. After saying that, his figure disappeared directly from the place. Wait a moment. The little turtle asked to stay, with reluctance in his eyes. However, the chess master never looked back and never stayed for a moment. This is fate. Zhang Li sighed slightly. The little turtle was silent for a moment, then climbed onto Zhang Li's shoulder, looked in the direction where Qi Zun was going, and waved his paws. Everyone in the field looked at Zhang Li with shock in their eyes. The reincarnation of chess master. To be so strong. The situation of mutual crossing, I must learn it, I must. Qi Xuanming, the ancestor of chess, was extremely excited at this moment and secretly made up his mind. Going forward for the whole world, this is the true meaning of saving all sentient beings. How good is it? The old monk Shizu clasped his hands together, a look of emotion appeared on his face, and said, The end of all paths is the true Buddha. Cao ancestor looked quietly at the pot of grass in Lu Rang's hand, and sent a secret message, saying, Brother, we are all elites in the plant world, please take care of me. The blades of the grass just drooped slightly, and a sweet female voice sounded. "Who is your brother?" "Kazoo." And at this moment, there is a secret place outside the demonic wasteland. An old man finished his drink. "Well, during this time, I don't know what's going on with the outside world. This person is none other than Wu Jianghe. There was too much noise in the demonic wasteland last time, so he hid directly. Lao Ji and the others haven't contacted me for so long." He immediately took out a jade talisman and opened it. Suddenly, a voice sounded. "Lao Wu, there has been a sudden change in Tianjian continent, and something related to the 9 laws has been born. Lao Ji and I will go there first. Come after you recover from your injuries. I'm afraid we can't stand each other." This is Chang Sun Immortal's message. It seems, it was left a few days ago. Suddenly, Wu Jianghe was stunned. What happened to the outside world? Why heal yourself? I am not injured. Moreover, such a big thing happened in Tianjian continent. Is it related to the 9 laws? This is amazing. No, you have to go immediately. Lao Ji, eldest grandson, don't die, wait for me. He hurriedly got up and hurried towards Tianjian continent. Heaven descends to the continent. Outside the sacrifice mountain, there was a group of people who were hesitant to move forward. Although I don't know what happened, but I have a hunch that it's probably not safe here. Ao Xuanhuan opened his mouth and looked anxiously at Hui Si, the supreme elder who visited the prison. Previously, the inspectors sent Ao Xuanhuan and Song Ji Yuan to come. At Ao Xuanhuan's request, the inspectors sent an elder to lead the team. At this moment, Hui Si's eyes also flashed with a hint of fear. This world's sacrifice mountain is indeed very strange. 3 evil corpses were born, and the 9 white rainbows were so shocking that even a glance from a distance made people feel like they wanted to worship them. No. The Forbidden Lord is getting closer and closer to recovery. Don't miss this opportunity. Hui Si thought for a while and then spoke firmly, saying, "Don't worry, this time it's the strong men from the Grey Mist Sea who take action to break the situation. What's so scary about them taking action?" Ao Xuanhuan said weakly, "But they were the ones who took action when the demons were in the wilderness. As a result, a lot of the ultimates died." Hui Si couldn't help but choked and said, "That's nonsense, how dare you question the Grey Mist Sea? You and Song Ji Yuan, bring the bones of the Forbidden Lord in immediately." He spoke commandingly and said, "Disobey orders and die." As he spoke, he followed the temptation again and said, "On the contrary, if you can successfully bring back the bones of the Forbidden Lord, the one with outstanding performance, can become the Supreme Elder. Wouldn't that be great?" When Song Ji Yuan and Ao Xuanhuan heard this, they had no choice but to prepare to set off. Elder Hui Si. Before leaving, Ao Xuanhuan suddenly spoke. "I wish you happiness every day and immortality." When Song Ji Yuan heard this, he was immediately excited. He looked at Hui Si inexplicably, sympathetically. Hui Si frowned, "Go quickly, don't do all these bells and whistles for me. I hate flatterers the most." Ao Xuanhuan and Song Ji Yuan set off immediately. They just left. Hey, in this situation, why do I suddenly think of my father? Hui Si was waiting where he was, and suddenly thought of several sad things. "My father died when I was 10 years old, Dad, you died miserably." He was inexplicably heartbroken and burst into tears. Why do I feel so sad? I just want to cry." Hui Si wiped his tears. The more he cried, the more he wanted to cry. The more he thought about it, the sadder he became. Finally, he couldn't help but sit down and cry. "Dad, Mom, I miss you so much." He was crying and bursting into tears. Shortly after, he was crying wildly when suddenly he felt the hairs on his back stand on end, as if he felt death. He turned his head suddenly and saw a terrifying spiritual energy arrow coming. Chaos Sun shooting bow, are you, the ultimate Shura, Wu Jianghe? Huixi's face changed drastically, and he was extremely shocked. From now on, I will update twice or 3 times, so if I don't say it, I want to live a more relaxed life in 2022. Fell asleep. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 941. Now. A small mountain village, in a small courtyard. The chess game is almost over. He, the great demon king, he even said that he would invade on a large scale, but after only a short time, you were unable to continue. Yun 11 looked at the chessboard with a rather happy face and said, "You can't move, and I can't move either. It's a draw." One of Li Fan's armies entered her chess formation and was now trapped to death. Li Fan just smiled and said, "Nice shot." In fact, his so-called large-scale invasion just now was just a pretense. Of course he could still win, but he didn't have to. After all, he played chess with Yun 11 just to guide Yun 11 to improve his own chess ideas. A game of chess is just an ordinary game, and there is no need to determine the outcome. "What do you want to eat tonight?" Li Fan asked. "Yungzi performed very well today, well, he should be rewarded with something delicious." Yun 11 stretched out and showed off her proud figure. She thought for a while and said, "I like to eat everything you cook." Li Fan smiled, stood up, put Xiaobai on his lap on the chair, and said, "I'll go to the kitchen and cook it for you." Seeing this, Yun 11 immediately followed and said, "I want to do it with you too." Xiaobai stood up and stretched, his cat eyes seemed full of doubts, and said, "Meow meow. Sacrifice the world in the mountains." The chess master left, and 9 white rainbows stood proudly. It contains 9 perfect methods. What to do with these people? It seems, it's not easy to save them. At this time, Qing Chen opened his mouth and looked at the top 10 overlords, Ji Wuming and others. Now, the field has reached a deadlock. Can it be killed? Lu Rang asked Zhang Li. Zhang Li shook his head. The spectrum of vomiting blood is not a killing formation, but a trapping formation. It does not contain a killing move. Even in the sea of grey fog, those who died from vomiting blood were eventually trapped to death rather than directly killed. Although Zhang Li's chess skills have led to the appearance of the ultimate palace and are said to be unparalleled in the world, his cultivation is still only the 8th realm soul enlightenment, and he is unable to lay out a killing array that can kill the ultimate or even the overlord. Let's release Miss Linglong and the others first. Zhang left the exit and made a move in the chess game with Du. Immediately, Yang Daomei and Zhang Yun's hung in the chess formation, as well as Yu Linglong, Yang Tian, Ji Wuden, and Chang Sunbumi, all escaped from the trap. "Thank you, Lord Qi." Yu Linglong saluted excitedly, her delicate body trembling slightly. "This time, I gained a lot. I got the complete 9 methods, and under the guidance of Zhang Li, I walked the road to the future." It can be said that as long as she follows the steps, she will be able to open up her own scenic spots and hit the road successfully. The road ahead is clear. Meet the 3 supreme beings. Yang Daomei, Zhang Yun's Hung, Yang Tian, and others also spoke. "You don't have to be polite." Zhang Li looked at Yang Daomei and Zhang Yun's Hung and said, "Are you two going to the Grey Mist Sea?" Just now, Yang Daomei and Zhang Yun's Hung said that although they did not succeed in making sacrifices to the world, they caused fluctuations at the other end of the scenic passage at the end of the 10,000 Dao. This attracted attention. On the other side of the Grey Mist Sea, someone seemed to be interfering and targeting the passage. They have to go to the Grey Mist Sea to protect it? Exactly. Zhang Yun's Hung said. 3 supreme beings, we bid farewell and go to the Grey Mist Sea first. We will welcome the supreme beings in the Grey Mist Sea and sweep away the enemies again. Zhang Li nodded and said. Good. Immediately, Zhang Yunzheng and Yang Daomei turned around and looked at Qi Fenglan. The real bone in Qi Fenglan's hand opened the Tiangang Overlord's Taoist scenery passage, which is still maintained and can pass through. Tian'er, now that you have obtained the 9 Dharma, you must practice it well and don't delay. Before leaving, Yang Daomei warned Yang Tian in every possible way, saying, "From today onwards, you will follow the 10 deities and you must serve them diligently." Yang Tian nodded and said, "Ancestor, don't worry, Tian'er understands." Immediately, the two of them were about to enter the Tiangang Overlord Dao scenery. Correct. At this time, Yang Daomei suddenly remembered something, turned back to Zhang Li and others, and said, "The 3 supreme beings, dare I ask Manzun, has he been reincarnated?" Lu Rang smiled and said, "He has been reincarnated, and he is raising dogs every day. If you are destined, you can still see him and the big black dog in the future." Yang Daomei suddenly panicked and said, "No. No, no, thank you." After saying that, he hurriedly got into the Taoist scenery. Zhang Yunzheng also smiled and followed inside. "It is said that my ancestor was Manzun's enemy for a period of time. He was slapped on the butt by Manzun, almost died, and was wet with dog urine." Yang Tian whispered, and he was also frightened. Because, in this life, he also let that fat man sit on him. Fortunately, it is not as miserable as the ancestor. Yang Daomei and Zhang Yunzheng were passing through the Dao scenery of Tiangang Overlord. "Brother Yang, you are too cowardly. You are now the guardian of the Beiwu ancestral realm. If you change your ways, they will not make things difficult for you even if you meet Manzun and Xuanhuan." Zhang Yunzheng spoke as he walked. Yang Daomei shook his head repeatedly and said, "Forget it, don't mention it, I have psychological shadow, that fat man and that dog, I don't want to see them again in my life." But, the words just fell. "Wow, does this emperor want you to be so unwelcome?" A dog barked faintly. Suddenly, Yang Daomei jumped up in fright, extremely frightened. Zhang Yunzheng was also shocked. How could there be a dog in this scenic spot? The two of them looked intently and saw a big, muscular black dog appearing on the path ahead. "No. Why, this dog is here." Yang Daomei was panicking. Of course he recognized it. This was the damn big black dog. Peed on him once. I had just left the true ancestor realm, and I thought I would never see the big black dog again. Unexpectedly, I met him in the blink of an eye. He was simply convinced. He was too unlucky, right? The big black dog, on the other hand, looked sideways at the two of them, with a very high posture, and said, "Where are you two going? Say, if you can't satisfy this emperor, I'll let you have a taste of the great supernatural power that reaches the heavens and the earth." Upon hearing this, Zhang Yunzheng immediately panicked and hurriedly explained everything about their situation. After hearing this, the big black dog suddenly became solemn. Did she really leave a passage outside the forbidden area, connecting the true ancestor realm to the forbidden area? The big black dog thought and said, "Go, does she want to?" Thinking of this, the dog's eyes were extremely solemn and he immediately said, "Wow, you two will become my servants from today on, follow me." When Yang Daomei and Zhang Yunzheng heard this, they were both confused. How could they become the servants of this dead dog? "Follow me, I will take you to kill all the enemies in the Grey Mist Sea." The big black dog is very confident.